Good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Mota, and welcome to the nightly recap powered by Gokhshtein News Network, your trusted source for politics, crypto, and everything in between that makes you question reality. Tonight's headline: Z and Trump, or how do you say it? Z, she, whatever. You guys know I have an accent. Anywho, tonight's headline: Z and Trump, both Geminis, which means the geopolitical tension isn't just between nations, it's between their own personalities. One minute it's a trade deal, and the next it's X war. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is up, the dollar's down, and somewhere a politician is learning how to spell Ethereum for a campaign speech. David Gokhshtein declares it's a pause market, says we wear turtlenecks, not because even the market's in a shell. In a bold statement, Gokhshtein reassured investors that it's not a bear market, it's just crypto doing yoga, taking a deep breath, stretching, and refusing to move for the foreseeable future. Fashion update: black turtlenecks are in, not because we're channeling Steve Jobs, but because this turtlenecks market got us dressing like the mood. Slow, cozy. I don't think cozy, but a slightly existential, except for David, who showed up in a cream colored one and now looks like a banana pudding, not giving financial advice. So, how are you all doing tonight? Talk to me. Are you guys excited? Market, tariffs, what the hell is happening with the market? Are we going to shit? Are we not going to shit? I have no idea what the hell I'm doing tonight. I don't know what the hell my writers are doing. And I don't know where anybody is with Gosh thing. You know, it's like the minute they announced 90-day pause on tariffs, everybody decided to take a break. So I'm asking, are we ready? Are we not ready? Or what the hell are we doing? What are we doing, people? Anywho, guys, look who joined me today. We have one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do you guys who grew up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They wanted to make a presentation. They wanted to show up today. They were like, "Oh, David is talking about Post Market. He's wearing turtlenecks, and we're talking about turtles. How can we make an appearance on the Gokhshtein network?" I was like, "Hey, send me something. If you don't want to come on live, send me a little monito. What do you call these? Little toy, whatever, bubble hit. Send it and say what again? And we'll go ahead and have one of your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles make an appearance. But this is the state of the market, people. Turtlenecks, turtles, pos market. And David was very excited because, you know, he's been talking about he really didn't want to say that the market was bearish. So he was trying to find another word for it. And I guess he was like, you know what? We're going to pause. Just there we go. Thank you, Electra. Funko Pop. That's what we call these little Funko Pops. So we got one of these from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, felt lazy like some of us, right? No, he's going to write the microphone today. Just show them your ass. But anywho, what was I talking about? Oh, David talking about pause market. And then Trump said today we're pausing the market for 90 days. So did David call it? Who knows? But fam, this whole week is going to be turtlenecks. So whoever shows up on lives, all our audience, if you want to ride this train, no, Landy, I can't do that because I have to tell you what this means in our culture. Anywho, any color turtleneck will fly. Anywho, tariffs. I want to talk to somebody about the tariffs. Landy, you want to come on and talk to me about the tariffs? Because look, I am going to tell you, is this market manipulation? I was watching the news. I was watching people on X, and some people are saying possibly insider trading, possibly market manipulation. Are we sure? Are we not sure? I don't know, but let's hear
Just a
something
few
from
hours
Trump.
later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions.
So you heard it first here, not first, it's been all over social media, but he says that a lot of you guys were getting yippy and basically calling a lot of people, you little wussies, you little vagina. So I have to put a 90-day pause because you guys cannot handle this. So I have to pause the market for a little bit here. But prior to that, let's go
on this. Now, the
um,
White House, let's see if we can
over
dip in.
to, I really
The
like
president
her.
just put out a statement announcing an additional tariff on China. The tariff on China will now go up to 125% because China imprudently decided to retaliate against the United States. And as I said at the podium yesterday, when you punch at the United States of America, President Trump is going to punch back harder. In that same vein, we have had more than 75 countries from around the world reach out to President Trump and his team here at the White House to negotiate better trade deals for the American worker. We have been overwhelmed with the amount of requests from countries around the world. I'll let the Secretary speak to that. We will continue with the tailor-made negotiations that I spoke about yesterday. In the meantime, there will be a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs as these negotiations are ongoing, and the tariff level will be brought down to a universal 10% tariff.
So that was earlier today. And then now it seems like China is ready to negotiate with Trump. Landy, how are you? What the hell do you think of this wild roller coaster?
Hi, Leslie. Well, sorry, the microphone came in a little hot there. I still have to dial this one in. But, I this is much bigger than what many of us focus on as just markets, right? This is geopolitical high stakes poker right now, right? And this was this was kind of what many were expecting, right? Was for tariffs to be implemented, countries to come to the table and start negotiating because the goal of the current administration is to shrink the trade deficit, right? So, shrinking the trade deficit isn't just tariffing items, it is getting some of our exports into other countries. So, China is very insular in that regard, right? And many countries are. They don't take a lot of American goods. And a lot of countries came to the table and have begun negotiations, and China was the only one that didn't, right? And they both Trump and Xi were up in the ante over each other and likely laughing about it behind the scenes here. As we nice. There's my little pup. Um, it's one of those things of like it's many are looking at it and calling it market manipulation, and this is so much bigger than just markets. Um, this is, if it. David made a good point this morning on I don't know which show it was, but
On
um,
the crypto
on his
radio
show,
talk
I
show,
don't,
was it?
I
Or
don't
was it
know,
on Joel's
might have been on Money Maxie's.
Money Maxie's?
Maybe it was. I'm not quite sure. Um, but essentially, his point was if it was market manipulation, he wouldn't have told you 3 hours before. He told everybody. It was public. It wasn't like it was behind the scenes. Now, many are making the contention of like, just the other day, the White House made the press walk back their 90-day pause stuff. Likely that was a leak that they didn't want to get out there because it does affect negotiations. It's not
Mhm.
all about markets. I know a lot of people love that. Oh, it's all about markets and market manipulation. Um, you know, you can't take money out of politics and you can't take politics out of money. So there's always going to be that accusation no matter what happens. And, I kind of feel like when it was just down to Trump and Xi battling it out, the rest of the world got very, very scared, including all of the bankers.
Right.
And we saw a massive deleveraging in the markets, right? Not just prices going down in the stock market, but also corporate bonds and treasuries around the world, treasury assets around the world, just selling off at the same time. And that's called a dash for cash or a cash dash, depends on kind of what era you come from. But that is essentially a flight to dollars, right? Instead of a flight to any other assets. And that is fear. Now, of course, there's players that are pulling out of fear. There's people selling because it's forced, because they're getting margin called. That's a lot of hedge funds. There's many different factors that go into that, but this was probably one of the biggest deleveraging events that we've seen since 2020, March of 2020, in my opinion. Yeah, that's kind of
Landy,
what
but
I
is it safe to say that, there is speculation in that it probably did seem like market manipulation because of what happened? It's like when it was leaked that there was going to be a 90-day pause, and then he came back and, the market kind of took off. And then he comes back and he's like, okay, no, there's not going to be a 90-day. And then fast forward, and here we are today with the announcement that there is going to be a 90-day pause. And then the market took off. So is it safe to say that, okay, we have people saying that it's not market manipulation, and then some saying that it is market manipulation? I mean, it does look like one.
I mean, you're gonna get that accusation no matter what, right? Even if there wasn't an announcement at 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 that particular point. It's one of those situations where the stakes are higher than just the markets, because it affects negotiations if you put that out earlier and you're still trying to close deals with other countries, right? To then go ahead and say like, "Hey, you're giving away just this information because either it leaked or, it did leak, obviously." Um, and that can change the way that negotiations go. I mean, here's a good way to know. We'll find out soon what Nancy Pelosi and all the different top Republicans and Democrats were buying and loading up on in their portfolio, and then we can make a better call on whether or not it was manipulation. But I mean, if you really want to call manipulation, I mean, it's tough to do that when he literally says like, go buy because I'm about to announce something." So I mean, that's kind of, and who knows, people will call that a cover your ass statement on Truth Social or whatever it was, right? So it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that David thinks that I don't like Trump and that I can't accept the fact that Trump is winning. And I actually wanted Trump to win, and I don't dislike him. And I think he is the perfect man that needs to be in office right now with the current state of our economy and the way that America was going. But I also want to be realistic and ask questions that maybe just because I did go for Trump, people are not asking. I'm still not going against Trump. I do understand what he is doing, but there are a lot of people out there, Landy, that don't understand and that have these questions. And if we're not asking these questions and people are not they can't give us an educated answer, how are we going to put them at ease? Because I do think that there are a lot of businesses, middle class businesses, people that are going to be affected during this cycle. And it's like helping them understand that that is a possibility and that can happen, but that is short term. And in the long run, we're going to be better economically as a country. We need to bring awareness and we need to ask these questions. And I know that David doesn't like me to ask these questions, but I am going to ask them.
Well, I mean, look, they're good questions, and it questions need to be asked around major events. What I can tell you is that any smart market participant especially any professional trader, saw the volatility index, also known as the VIX, which is the volatility index of the S&P 500, spike to some of the highest levels that we've seen in a very long time. I called it a Six Sigma event because that's what it's called. It was actually bigger than a Six Sigma event. These are very rare. And when you start to see them, like the volatility come down or start to crack in those lower term time frames, that's when a lot of, professionals know that we're probably going to see a change in character. And that happened on the 7th. That started to happen. Is the volatility index spiked up, hit a high, and then started to rapidly pull back. So volatility rapidly cooled down, which meant that you had, in this case, because everything was dumping, you had buyers coming in. And like me personally, when I saw that, I understand what that means. I was then closing my short positions. And in this case, they were puts on options, right? So that is what the pros were doing. But then on the other side of this, the players that really got shook and hurt in this are a lot of forced sellers,
Landy,
and
let me
people
ask you
got
a
margin
question.
call.
Do you think that there is no middle class in America? David is saying there's no middle class in America. Do you think that is accurate to say?
Ah, man, that's a tough one. I would say that there is a widening gap between the rich and the poor, and you're getting less and less in the middle. The middle class has been shrinking rapidly for a long time. Um, Post Patriot Act, the middle class has been getting destroyed. No, we're going all the way back to the Bush administration with that, and it's post March of 2020, the middle class got hurt even more because where did most of the money go? It didn't go to we all got checks in the mail. That was
Yeah.
it, right? And who really benefited at the end of the day? It was the banking sector and those that have in the elite corporate world, right?
Mhm.
And that then spiraled out into 4 years of that continuing to happen over and over again with every new spending proposal out of Congress, last administration. And inflation killed the middle class all through 2021 into 2022 and has had the after effects that we are experiencing for the middle class now. So while I wouldn't say that the middle class is non-existent, it is definitely shrinking very, very fast. There's a
It
lot
is.
more poor and a lot more
And
rich.
my understanding of the middle class, it had incomes ranging anywhere from 56,000 plus to 170,000, which now it's like 170,000, six figure used to be a lot. And now it's not in this economy and the cost of goods and how expensive everything is, how expensive it is to buy a house with mortgage rates, the sales of cars, etc. I think, I don't know, and groceries, etc. But on that note, maybe David should keep wearing turtlenecks on live because Bitcoin is pumping today. Bitcoin is ranging from 82,000 to 83,000 today. What do you think of
Back to back turtlenecks are that's the answer. We all have to wear turtlenecks. Understand that if you're going to be in the markets, you got to be in it for the long game, right? It's slow and
Mhm.
steady wins the race. And if you go too fast, you'll just you end up wrecked. And that's just kind of, I think that turtlenecks fit the bill for that.
I think so too, Landy. I'm going to go over a little bit of the news because my intern was running a little behind. I guess he was DJing last night and he overslept into today and then just sent me the news. So hopefully it's nothing derogatory that can get me in trouble with HR. But there is a new SEC chair. Paul Atkins, a well known supporter of Bitcoin, has been officially appointed as the new chair of the SEC. think some people will be excited, some may not. But Trump nears trade deal with China. China. Trump says he's confident US will eventually strike a solid deal with China, adding that talks are already in progress and China seems ready to make it happen. He mentioned he doesn't see any more tariffs being added and even offered to meet with President, how do you say it? Is it XZ Xi
President
Jinping?
President Z.
Xi Jinping to work things out. I like and respect President Xi a lot, Trump said, but China's never really treated us fairly, which I do completely agree with that. I think that China has been very unfair, not to just the US, to a lot of the countries that they trade with.
100%. Look, China has basically shrugged off the WTO for a very long time. I think Kevin O'Leary put it really well when he was on Fox recently. I think it was it last night or the day before when he said like throw 400% tariffs, but he went into the reasons why. They steal IP consistently. They're very tough to work with.
But Kevin, he said there's a lot of deals that they're
and
really
they
kissing his ass was the phrase he
yes,
used.
thank you.
Very eloquently. Where are the deals?
Wait, can you hear? Can you see it?
104% tariffs in China are not enough.
Man,
I'm
it's taking a little bit to load. No, but you can
400%.
keep talking
I do
until
business in
I can't
China.
hear it yet, unless you
They
hear
don't play
it.
by the rules. They've
I
been in
hear
the
it.
WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology. They
Apparently,
steal
you
it,
can
they
hear it. Everybody
manufacture
can hear it.
sell
I can't
back
hear
here.
crap.
Never has an
Americans
administration.
withstand 400% tariffs? What would
I
that look
want
like?
Xi on an airplane
This is
to
wild stuff.
Washington to level the playing field. It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400%
What is
tariffs
my
tomorrow
volume
morning.
super low?
He'll tell you why. Xi can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe
CNN.
out any business there,
realized
because
that.
we are still 39% of all
it's probably gonna
consumables
shoot
on
me for
Earth
putting
and
something on
25%
CNN,
of the
but
world's GDP. America
we
is
live
the
and
number
learn.
one economy on Earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Nobody can hear it?
I can hear it. I'm over here listening to it. He said it's super low. In between arguing with David arguing with the Gokhshtein account. It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh man. I mean, his points were all valid and they're points that have been expressed for quite a long time, and Trump is the only one to kind of take it on. Now, the way that this all played out, obviously the left is going to be upset about it. Even some people on the right. But now, everybody's screaming, we're so back, we're so back. And that still remains to be seen in terms of price action in markets, but it's definitely, it's, de- it's definitely, yeah. Okay. So Landy is trying to sound proper. Like, bro, just let it loose and put your D on the table. Is pretty funny. I'm in full on proper mode today. I've had to be, been up very, very early, but look, this, no matter how he went about this, it was going to cause a stir on both sides. The fact that we have countries coming to the table to do deals was the entire goal. And I do think that he's still going to keep tariffs on. I think he really does want to, I think he really does want to. Every time you bring that up, I'm reading it. Yeah, he does want to shrink the trade deficit, and there's that does involve doing deals for exports.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay, so up next on the news, White House issues warning to all nations. The White House says, do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. Okay. Will Trump make history? Commerce Secretary Lutnick says President Trump is firm on global trade imbalances and poised to sign the most historic deals ever. Looks like Ethereum is back from the dead. The SEC has approved options for trading for spot Ethereum ETFs. Trump outlines his reasoning for pausing tariffs. Donald Trump said someone had to step in because the situation wasn't sustainable, claiming no other president would have taken the action he did. He explained that he paused the tariffs because people were getting out of line, but emphasized that it's not over yet. Don't hit the panic button yet, U.S. companies. Trump says he will consider exempting certain U.S. companies. Let's talk about that. What U.S. companies and what's going to qualify for some companies to be exempt? And exempt of what?
Exempt from tariffs. So if they're U.S.-based companies, they're probably because this is a big deal. What he's doing to shrink the trade deficit is a huge deal. And if he is going to do deals with especially China, which,
China. You have to
China,
say it. You have to say it like Trump,
I
Landy. China.
China. Listen, he's got to shrink that trade deficit, and there's going to have to be some give and take on both sides for companies that are going to be exempt. And it might not even it might be commodities companies, it might be manufacturers of tech, it might be textile manufacturers. We don't know. It might be American companies that are over in China and these other in these other nations that do provide a lot of the goods that we purchase at our local Walmarts and Targets and wherever else, that they don't want to drive the costs up immediately, that they could, drop tariffs for, do deals for. We won't know that until deals are done and signed, though.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, Landy. Does my reading bother you, Landy?
No, why?
Because David says that I am holding you hostage and I am forcing you to listen to my reading.
I was
I
looking
mean,
at chat, but I can't because then
in
I'll lose
all
my train of thought.
honesty, do you remember when David and I used to come on together and then we started rotating one day on, one day off? And I used to read everything and he would just do commentary. That man had he struggled to read.
Yeah. Well, listen, the scriptwriter definitely gives him a difficult time,
Mhm.
and
Which makes it even funnier, right? He
yeah, it's
critiques
hilarious.
me, he critiques my vocabulary, my accent, and he's the one that can't read the proper words either. But David says that right now he's working out. He's actually making some burritos at Taco Bell if you do happen to want one. Okay, let's see what else the writer gave me over here. Hopefully, nothing like the other day. Everything is going according to plan. Treasury Secretary Bessent asserts that President Trump's strategy from the start was to push China into a tough spot. Bessent also emphasized that the decision to wait until today was made by Trump himself and not swayed by market reactions. That's debatable, right?
Um, it is. That one is debatable. I don't think he really. I'll be honest though. I don't think he cares if the stock market was going to unravel. I think because he understands what he's got next on his agenda for the economy. This is just one. This is one large piece, but it is not the totality of what he has said he wants to do regarding the economy. And we know what's coming up next. I mean, I've said this before. Everybody's macroeconomic, um, geopolitical expert this week. Next week, everyone's going to be a tax attorney. So, that we have that coming up. And I do think that we're going to start hearing a little bit more about taxes during tax week.
Yep, absolutely. And David, when he reads the scripts that the intern gives him, it's so he is here for not a short time, but a long time, and to be funny because they write me scripts, Landy, so I am intentionally boring. Just letting everybody know they literally do that to me, but I'm okay. I don't need to be fun and like David. Anywho, Trump means business. Trump announced he's pausing tariffs on most nations for 90 days due to market meltdown, but the tariffs on China will still increase. He revealed that China's tariff rate will rise to 125% effective immediately. And then do you see what they do to me? They make me seem repetitive too.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much. Yeah,
right?
they're screwing with you right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
they are, Landy. This is not funny. Like,
David's out
they
here
know what
looking
they're
like Drew
doing.
Lynch in the early days when he first started stand-up comedy. If y'all don't know who that is, go look him up. He's
Yeah.
a stuttering comedian. That's what they make David sound like. And then for you, you're a
For me,
script
they made me
writer.
sound boring and repetitive. Like, what is this bullshit?
Every third
Intern.
story is the same one.
It's like they rewrote it and then inserted in every other one. If I get one more tariff, I am going to lose my bun on live. And I mean my head bun, my hair. Is China teaming up with Russia? Rumors suggest that over 150 Chinese citizens have joined the Russian army to fight in Ukraine, and a U.S. admiral has confirmed that two Chinese nation nationals fighting for Russia have been captured by Ukraine forces. Interesting. The European Union imposes tariffs on the U.S. The EU has imposed a 25% tariff on U.S. exports including soybean, steel, aluminum, tobacco, yachts, poultry, orange juice, and helmets.
Yes, I'm reading it too. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I can't I can't read chat. I have to blank it out.
You
But
have to because they go wild.
yeah, they
Wild.
do. I mean, I'm surprised. This is why you can always tell when David's looking at chat and then he'll just give it a quick smile and quickly look away because if he starts reading, he'll crack up.
Yeah, he
Um,
either cracks up or then he starts fighting with the people he says that he does not like to fight or he doesn't like drama. He actually loves to fight with the people on the chat. Tammy, yes, please write my scripts because I think somebody is out to sabotage me. I don't know if it's David or which one of the interns is out to sabotage me when I'm alone.
don't worry, I'm here with you, Leslie. Look,
We're gonna make it fun, Landy.
there's a big story that I hope that you get to, but we'll see. We'll see
Okay,
what they've got in
let's
there
see if
for you.
they included any of what other stuff that's popping. Are there hidden deals happening that we're not aware of? According to Van Eck, China and Russia are conducting certain trade deals using Bitcoin. Interesting.
There it
Is
is.
Is
That's the
that the one
one.
you want? Okay,
That's the
let's
one.
let's dive into it. Let's throw ourselves in the ocean and talk about it.
Look, Bitcoin is going to eat the world. And what many have recently found out, especially in memes, shout out to all the meme coiners, is that whichever way Bitcoin goes, you're going to go. And Bitcoin as a store of value is, as a narrative, gets shot down by stuff like this. When they're doing deals like this using Bitcoin, this is the reason why. Now, of course, this is at a nation state level, and we're likely going to see more of this, especially when you have um, difficult times like what the world has experienced with the potential unraveling of trade deals that were in place in favor of new trade deals. Keep the $60. Jesus.
Send it lower so I can buy more.
Right?
I swear to God, it's like people panicked, but if things, to me, I just want more position to enter into a better position. So dip it low.
Yep. Do the
Dip
limbo.
How low can you go? And some people cannot go low. Is it risky to travel between the US and China? China issues warnings about the risk for Chinese tourists traveling to the US. Shouldn't there be risk for US people traveling to China? Bo Hines remains bullish on crypto. President Trump's executive director, Bo Hines, says they're ready to usher in golden age for Bitcoin and crypto. Ooh, Canada pulls out the Uno reverse card. Canada's 25% auto tariffs on the US are now live.
Oh no. Whatever will we do? Because they have more to lose in this deal than we do. Sorry, I have to be facetious with that one, all my Canadian friends, because just remember who refines your oil and sells it back to you.
Oh my God. David, I cannot with him. I don't even know what this means. Did you see his comment?
Wait. Which one? The don't start acting ghetto? Or is he still going? Hold on. You're not selling your account. No. You sell your account for ETH?
Don't start acting ghetto. You know what? If I do act ghetto or disruptive or angry or dramatic, I have the best teacher on the Gokhshtein network crew. Guess who that is? David Gokhshtein.
Lead by example, they say.
Yeah, and and I'm a good student. If it seems Trump can't just act on his own terms after all. The US Trade Representative stated that Trump's tariffs powers are limited by legal and constitutional constraints. Amazon wants to steer clear of bearing these tariff costs. Amazon halts inventory orders from China amid rising tariffs. India is being cooperative. India's trade minister says the country is in constant talks with the US and will work to remove additional tariffs in the coming days. Are U.S. farmers in trouble or will they see relief soon? The U.S. is considering a bailout for farmers as Chinese retaliation threatens American exports. We're almost, oh my gosh. No, okay. What the heck? They wrote me like 11 pages of news to report. Nah.
Settle in, everybody. We're going to be here a while.
Oh
They're just
my.
all the same stories. As you keep going through, you just keep reading.
I don't even
and it's
know
the
where
same
I
stories over and over
ended.
again.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, some of these, if it's repetitive, I am not going to read it. Okay, cool, calm, and collected. President Trump believes now is the perfect time to buy. Reassuring, be cool. Everything is going to work out. So buy when it's green instead of buying what is red. Is that what he's telling us?
No, I mean, he's just trying to assuage some fears out there. Did you see the White House account today?
Oh my
Post a
gosh.
picture of him.
You know what? I'm like, did they hire an intern? Because the White House account was was trolling today, right? I think they
Yep.
were funny.
Yes. I mean, if you're gonna if you're gonna take a pic, just for those that maybe didn't see it, the White House account posted a picture of Trump and said, "Let him cook" in all caps.
You guys are on one. I think everybody is trolling me today in the comments, Landy.
Yes, I see that. David is leading the charge in that regard. Hi,
Definitely.
Julie.
Hi, Julie. I think I am definitely going to troll David tomorrow. It's like he wants to troll me. He can't troll me. This is like the ghetto version of the Daily Show on Comedy Central.
Yeah, the
Well,
Daily
it's a
Show hasn't been great for years. This is much better than the Daily Show.
I mean, and at least we're good looking, Landy. Look at you, look at me. I mean, and people enjoy coming and watching us chat. I know they come for you, Landy. So I don't know what David's talking about. Is Elon abusing his power? Elon Musk clashes with Senator Chuck Schumer, accusing him of benefiting from government fraud. I think a lot of them benefited from government fraud that were in office prior to Trump.
If they're in Congress, they benefited from government fraud
Mm-hmm.
and
I mean,
taxpayer
it's like,
fraud,
you
NGO
know,
fraud.
We know their salaries, and then a lot of them are millionaires. What the F was happening?
Yeah, they're clearly beyond public service.
Exactly. Scott Bessent is trying to pump our bags. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the administration is actively working to clear regulatory hurdles for Bitcoin and crypto, says we're ready to reform and unlock the full potential of America's capital markets. If you guys can't understand me, I can slow down, but I got like 4 more pages to go. The U.S. has their eyes on the Panama Canal. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. will reclaim control of the canal for Chinese influence. The EU isn't taking it lightly. The EU officially imposed tariffs of $23 billion worth of U.S. goods as the metal dispute intensifies. Tariffs can be lifted anytime, the EU says. The EU Commission says its first countermeasures against U.S. tariffs will be rolled out starting April 15. But these measures can be lifted at any time if the U.S. agrees to fair and balanced deal. Is China making things harder for the world? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warns that Europe will be cutting its own throat by aligning with China, while also suggesting the U.S. could join forces with allies to approach China as a united front. He adds that China is the only country currently escalating on trade. JP Morgan is feeling the heat. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says the bank has already lost a few bond deals overseas since the tariffs were implemented. He also notes that he's hearing more recessionary talk as trade tensions escalate, adding that the goal of trade deals should be to strengthen, not weaken our trading partners. Whew. Okay, I lost a couple of pages. Landon, did you understand everything I just said?
Sure, yeah, I was Besant, trade, tariff, war, Panama Canal.
Oh
It was
my
all in
goodness.
there. I know it was all in there somewhere. Who the fuck is JB Morgan?
Did I say JB? I said JP Morgan.
I know he's messing with you, but that literally just popped up because they're behind.
You know what? I do need some water. Hold on. Let me drink water. I forgot my green bottle water, but I learned from David, so let me drink some water really good.
Oh no, it's plastic. The microplastics, Leslie.
I know, I forget. Because David already did his water fast and he cleared all those microplastics out of his body, right?
Yeah, you could tell, by the way, as he was going
How
through
can
it.
you tell that he cleared them out of his body? Was his face looking plasticky?
No. You could tell when he was on the water fast and when he was done with it very clearly.
Are you trying to say that his face looked very little?
No, I mean well, he definitely clearly he looked like he felt better, but while he was going through it, you could tell just on the radio show he wasn't feeling great. He was
Oh my
struggling.
god, that man during the water fast, I don't think I even talked to him those 3 days. He was moody, like a moody. I was like, "Nope, don't call me. We're not gonna talk business. We're not gonna talk anything until you're done with your water fast because that attitude, nah. You're putting yourself through it. I don't gotta pay for that attitude."
That's why I do milkshake fasts.
Cookies and cream?
Yeah. Cookies and cream is good. Chocolate, good. Just no vanilla. It's too
Yeah,
plain.
no. I like cookies and cream and chocolate and strawberry too. Butter pecan? No, not butter pecan. I like ice cream, but okay, we're almost done. It looks like Trump does have a heart after all. Trump administration revises port fee plan to ease the impact on US exports. You see, it was going to impact exports and I kept telling everybody and nobody believes me. Nobody listens. Gold keeps rising. Spot gold continues its rally, now up nearly 3%, trading at 3,114. Is it finally time to get rid of cash and go all in on crypto? The US dollar falls to $144.44 against the yen, its weakest level since October 2nd, reflecting a 1.25% decline. Benson's currency and trade remarks. U.S. Treasury Secretary Benson urges China to avoid devaluating its currency, warning it would act as tax on others. He confirms the U.S. will address the debt ceiling through reconciliation, downplays bond market concerns, and stresses that China must come to the negotiation table. When asked about the potential delisting of Chinese stocks from U.S. exchanges, Benson adds Everything is on the table. Trump encourages U.S. business moves. President Trump asserts that now is an ideal time to move your business to the United States of America. And the cost of living is going to go up temporarily. I want to talk about that in a little bit. Oh, shit. Russia explores digital assets. Russia's central bank governor Elvira how do you say that? Nabiulina reveals that businesses are increasingly exploring and testing digital assets. China is ready for anything and everything. China's premier states that the country is fully prepared to navigate any uncertainty that may arise. China limits dollar purchases. China's central bank has directed state owned banks to limit their US dollar purchases. New additions to China export list. China's Ministry of Commerce adds 12 US entities to export control list. China's tariff hike. What the heck? China raises tariffs on US imports to staggering 84%. US tariffs impact on Nike. U.S. tariffs are cited as contributing factor to a 5% drop in Japan's Nike 225 when they went into effect. They literally wrote me more pages than when David and I were live together. Trump on U.S. China exploits. President Trump claims that China has long exploited the U.S. in various ways, but now it's time for the U.S. to turn the tables. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness gracious. I felt like I just ran a marathon reading 12 pages of news by myself.
And meanwhile, while you're doing that, we're getting horrible biohacking advice in the chat. Just god awful
What are
Ciroc
they
with
talking?
eggs. We've got what else have we got in here? Vodka eggs. David can't poop apparently. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happening over here, but
Um,
they're on a biohacking kick right now, at least for
so
the short
if
term.
you do biohacking with waters for 3 days, you get constipated.
I mean, you shouldn't. There's probably something wrong if you are.
Then there's something wrong with David if he can't poop. And then number two, he's asking, why am I reading or hearing can we hear today's news? Why are we listening to yesterday's? I don't know. That's what the Gokhshtein News Network wrote and put it on me to read. So if you have a problem with that, David, then you go directly to the news network. Don't come at me because we're about to box verbally. Landy.
Yes.
Okay, biohacking. Have you done biohacking?
I do fasting. Yes.
You do fasting. Okay, that's different. I do fasting too. I do 3 days. Do you do it for spiritual or what type of fasting do you do? If I may ask.
To reset the horrible decisions that I make when it comes to eating food. So 3 days, typically just to kind of just clear everything out.
Do you do it like once a month, once a week, or how often do you do it?
Once a month. I only need once a month. Although because I try to eat pretty clean,
Mhm.
um, when I'm traveling, I tend not to eat very well.
Yeah.
So if I have a month where I'm traveling, I will do an extra week. So 2 weeks out of the month, I'll do the 3-day fast. And it's a water fast. I mean, but I also take vitamins and minerals and other things along with it, which I made mistakes very early on with that stuff because it can be very hard on your stomach when you
Yeah.
have an empty stomach. So I've transitioned over to various products that have helped with that, and I've had a lot of success with it.
Me too. I do 3 days water, but I do it to reset that stuff too. But I do it for spiritual purposes. And I really need to be very zen. You know, it's not easy working for a boss like David. So I have to be very zen like 90% of the time. If not, I would lose my shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see how when the two of you do your show together, when you do the recap together, I can see that you're just barely holding back. You're holding back. You're You're giving them a little bit of leeway. You're letting them get away with some things. Maybe you got to start tightening that up. Close that gap. Get that deficit closed.
Landy, the disrespect is real. It is so disrespectful. I am like the kindest person. I don't yell. I never get aggressive. And I look, even if I text him, he's already in a bad mood and then yells at me back. And I'm like, David, please read my text messages like a robot. And even him reading it like a robot, he still gets triggered. And I'm like, who hurt you today, David? Who hurt you today?
Who touched you in your no place? Um,
Who touched you in your no places?
I see that the Gokhshtein account has asked me if I like pizza. Yes, that is my Achilles heel. I like pizza, New York style pizza.
I like a margarita pizza.
What I just realized as I see the turtles starting to pop up again is that I didn't wear my turtleneck. I'm not quite sure. I have my world peace shirt on. I'm puking out a rainbow, and I've got my Viking helmet on, but I did not wear a turtleneck. So I do feel. See, Donnie's here, so that's a good thing. And now you got to get Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael, right?
Mm-hmm. Make an appearance next week.
Perfect.
Yes.
See,
I do like to drink. I drink a lot of water, and I actually stopped drinking because I wanted to also like clear my body and purify my body of like certain minerals and certain stuff, alcohol, etc. And but every single day, Landy, at the end of the day, I do want to take a shot of something because I either want to punch the air, I want to punch somebody. I'm not going to say who I want to punch in the throat. Throat punch them and then drop kick.
drop kick them.
You know how
Jeez.
sometimes have you ever listened to anybody or their voice and you're just like, man, their voice just makes me want to punch them in the throat and then go behind them and then kick them, like in the back of their knee so their leg bends and they fall to the floor.
This is pretty violent. I think you've been
Is
keeping
it?
this inside for a long time. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us in the audience?
No, because then people are gonna. But the thing is, I'm really not going to do it, Landy. But if there could be a cartoon, and somebody can draw it up and make it very cute and funny, and then just kind of with the image of or the essence of me, and then the essence of somebody else, like a male, and then they can kind of replicate that. I think that would kind of satisfy that urge.
And how would this make you feel?
I think that would make me feel like like I can breathe a little bit more and then I don't have to box like some of this anger that I am carrying inside or some of this frustration that I'm carrying inside.
Now, do you feel as though that this could be kind of a give and take situation where there could be a bit of projection from your side as well? Maybe you're projecting some anger out to them that's being reflected back to you?
No, because I am a giver, and sometimes the bad thing about being a giver is that you give all the time. And then you have somebody that's going to take all the time and patience wears off. It's like I'm very patient person, Landy. And sometimes, people just get the best of me.
Yeah, well, you can't let yourself be taken advantage of. Yeah, I read that as well.
Oh my God, Landy, what the
Well, as a licensed therapist, David, we have to take this voice and we have to turn it on every once in a while to get to the core of issues, okay?
Yeah.
And if we don't get to the core, we can't solve problems.
I think my core of my universe internally is peaceful. I don't think I have anything at the core. I think it's at the surface level. It still hasn't.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god. David, I am a giver. David is probably sitting there thinking this is a bullshit. But you know who knows me and who knows that I'm real? Tammy. Tammy knows the true person that I am. And Tammy will tell you that I'm very kind, that I'm very sweet. People love to be around me. And there's just a certain someone that has an issue with that and has a problem. And, that's why sometimes, I battle with people. Not because I want to battle with them. They want to battle with me, Landy. And, I let it slide. I let it slide because I'm very patient. And then one
Mhm.
day I wake up and I'm like, that's it. No more. We're going to box today. We're going to fight today.
And that tends to happen when you hit that breaking point because you're not letting the other person know that they are approaching that point at which you might break. And that's where communication really is the key.
I think too that, Landy, they're always trying to hook me up. Anytime that I have a male come on the show, I think I am very receptive. I have an easygoing personality, so a lot of people like to talk to me. I have a lot of friends that are men,
Mhm.
and there's certain people that I can go on and have conversations with. There's certain people that I can't, and I think one of them is upset because it's like I'm always talking to his friends that are now my friends.
I see. So we have a bit of a stolen friendship scenario that could be occurring in this instance.
Yep. And I think right now somebody's upset, Landy, because, first they had a certain friend and that friend was going on to shows with them. And then now those friends are coming and talking to me and then saying nice things. And then, I'm just building friendships with this person's friends. And I don't think this person likes it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that it can be a bit jarring for people, especially if they're the ones that made the introduction.
Yeah.
And it's listen, we all squabble, right? And it can be a really you don't want to get pigeonholed in being just in your own insular circle. You
Right.
have to branch out and you have to meet friends. And sometimes we can end up in quite a situation where it gets to be a little bit like a cockfight. And it's it's unfortunate, but we can always settle squabbles and without um,
There's a
without
lot of
having to resort to nastiness
Yeah.
and
There's a
attacks.
lot of cockfights out there, but one of the things that I don't do, I am a very giving person, so I do share, and I don't care if people are friends with other people. I'm not going to pigeonhole them to just being my friend. So, it's like we can share friends. Like, for example, Tammy used to be like really good friends with this person, and now she's my
Yeah.
bestie. And
Well,
then,
Tammy's great, so how could you not
oh,
become
she's
besties with
amazing.
her?
Yeah. So it's like if
Right.
anybody comes and wants to be her friend now because she's my friend, then I'm good with it. Landy, you used to be this person's friend. Now it's like you're my friend because now you're coming on my lives. And
Yeah, they
you
didn't
know,
start their lives, they were wondering about, "Hey, could they come on is markets and stuff like that," but then they were too busy taking victory laps on the timeline for what was happening, they were like, "Hey, it's a pause market and, we've got the zombie coins might come back to life for a couple of days and then, they'll die again," right? So it was it's fairly interesting, but I make myself available to everyone, and that's everyone that will have me on and hear my voice, because as somebody said in the chat not too long ago. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is a DM. Landy likes to hear himself talk. Is that why he's getting close enough to the microphone that he can hear himself through Leslie's speakers? Yeah, thanks.
but
Yeah, thanks for that
it's
one.
it's perfect, Landy, because David likes to hear himself talk, and this is why you guys make good friends. And and I am one of those people that I listen, and I listen to understand. I'm not reactive or I don't respond. So if you like to hear yourself talk, I'm just going to go ahead and listen to you. And I do the same with all my friends.
Yes, obviously, I observe this a lot on Mondays. You definitely you definitely give people space to talk, and they should have no complaints about that. They definitely make themselves heard. And I think in this kind of a market climate, though, we have heightened tensions, right?
Mhm.
Markets have gone down quite a bit. People are unsure of where things are going. There's still debate about whether or not the geopolitical tariff situation is going to get worked out. But in reality, it is it's we're going to wake up tomorrow. Markets aren't going to go anywhere, and hopefully our friends won't go anywhere either.
Abso-freaking-lutely. David said that this is a half-hour show, and you know what? The funny thing is, like, he says it's a half-hour show. The last time that I did the show by myself, I think I was 17 minutes. It was under 30 minutes. He did his show yesterday, and it was like 40 minutes. And he's saying that this is what happens when you give a woman the microphone. But David talks a lot, and it's proven in his shows in the morning because he spends 3 hours and he can't even shut it off because he gets a 30-minute dialogue of God knows what, because most of the time he's screaming up a storm. And sometimes he goes up to 4 hours. I'm like, bro, how can you talk that much? How do you have energy to have diarrhea of the mouth and it just keeps going and going and going? I only do it once a week by myself, and that's it.
Yeah, I will give David this as a pretty good burn. He said, "I'm glad we have two women on tonight."
Landy, how
That's a pretty sick burn. I'll give him that one. That
he
was a pretty sick burn.
disrespect you like that? Okay, so Landy, are you on for tomorrow morning then?
Sure. Yeah.
What we said we were gonna do?
Yes.
You wanna do it
Absolutely.
tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Okay, then let's go ahead and talk about it. That way, Landy and everybody tune in tomorrow. We're not gonna tell you what it is. It's just going to surprise all of you guys, and boom, right in your faces.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, well, on that note, Landy, um, we are at the top of the hour, so remember everybody to tune in to David's. What did David change his show? It used to be Meme Talk Radio. Now it's what? Crypto Talk Radio? Like, David, make up your mind. He critiques women a lot that they can't make up their mind, but he can't make up his mind on his damn show. Like, pick a name and stick with it. Crypto Talk Radio with DG at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then he has the breakdown at 1 Eastern Standard Time. Then tune into Hotep, the Griff Report at 2 Eastern Standard Time. Then you have Money Maxis with Joel Soka at 2 Eastern Standard Time. Crypto News at 4 Eastern Standard Time with Julie. You have Boss Talk at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. And now you have Conspiracy Theory on Sundays at 7 Eastern Standard Time with Tammy and I and Jess. And this week we are going to be talking about flat earth. Do you believe, Landy, we are under the dome?
No, I don't, but it is a very fun conspiracy theory that I enjoy and I know far too much about.
Well,
Like,
I used
way
to
too much
think
about it.
that the world was round, and now I am open to the idea and possibility we are on a flat earth. And I went to sleep last night researching flat earth, researching the what was it, the Rubus nigra, that black rock that apparently was in the old maps and is no longer on the new maps. And it's very interesting stuff.
You dove
And we're
deep. You
yeah.
dove deep.
And we're
Yeah.
going to go ahead and talk about it on Sunday. So tune in, Landy. David did not tune in on Sunday, so that was kind of disrespectful. He said he was busy, but we all know David's not busy. But everybody, don't panic. Just yet, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had to hide in the sewer before saving the day. So we know that this market might be slow, but with a potential tariff, well, not a potential, with tariff pause, like David said, oh, he won't stay still. With a tariff pause and a dash of usual market manipulation, there's still hope it bounces back faster than a meme coin on Elon's X feed. Until then, keep your charts close, your turtlenecks cozy, and remember, in crypto, the pause before the pump is just part of the plot twist. Landy, thank you so much for coming on with me today. Always appreciate you, and thank you for being my friend now. And looking forward to chatting up a storm and doing what we're going to do tomorrow.
Sounds great, Leslie. Thanks so much for having me.
And don't let David be a hater towards you.